everyone, this is Jennifer with DP Addiction Adventures. I hope that this video finds you well. I'm pretty excited about this video, and I'm sure the title gave it away, but my whole life I have been called a Goodie Tushu. That's right, a Goodie Tushu. And I don't like being a goody-goody, but yet I don't like breaking the rules. So I decided that I would share a behind the scenes of what happens to the brain of a Goodie Tushu that's not so goody. So, story number 1. I never had a date to the prom. I did not have a boyfriend in high school. I was the girl that was too good of a friend to ruin a good thing, and I hated it. And my self-esteem was super low, and so there was my senior year. We had basically the equivalent of a prom, but we called it junior senior. So the juniors in high school put on a banquet or a prom minus dancing. So you had a dinner and then some sort of activity, and it was called a junior senior, and it was in honor of the seniors. So my senior year, I'm just going to call it a prom, was at a huge Air Force base. The biggest Air Force base pretty much in the country is where I'm from. And they have a museum. And so we had dinner and music, and then you could walk through the museum. And I really had a crush on this boy from my church, and so I asked him as a friend if he would go to the prom with me, and he said yes. So this upped the ante on me wanting to find a dress and being the princess of the ball and just having a really good time. I played soccer and was outside a lot and had like that farmer's tan, and my dress had like 2-inch straps, and I did not want to be completely white around the neck and the upper arms in this dress. So I begged and begged and begged my mom if I could go tanning. And I finally convinced her one time that I could go tanning for 3 or 4 times, because 3 or 4 times in a tanning bed would not hurt, and she was so scared that I would develop skin cancer. So here I am, a senior. I basically had reign of one of the vehicles in our family, and I was supposed to come home after practice, but instead I went, well, I was supposed to, let me back up. I was supposed to buy a package for 3 or 4 tanning sessions, but instead, for the same price, they had a package for 15 sessions. So the first 3 or 4, I went, no problem. Mom didn't care. But then I had to get tricky and figure out how was I going to get to the tanning booth without my mom knowing. And so instead of coming home straight after practice, I would go to the tanning place. Well, I felt really guilty. I always smelled like the tanning lotion or whatever they had in the beds, or the cleaning or whatnot. I always thought I was going to get caught. But so far I had made it to like 6 or 7 of the sessions. So this one particular time, I went to the tanning booth and went in, and there was a bee in the room. And I was like, all right, I'm severely allergic to bees. I do not need an EpiPen, but if I got stung, my finger would literally swell up the size of 3 fingers. I've gotten stung in my ear, and the ear took up half my face. Like, there's something that I'm highly allergic to. Thank the Lord, it's not enough for an EpiPen. But whenever I'm around bees, I get somewhat anxious. Now, I don't go hysterically crazy, but there's this fear inside me. I don't want to get stung. So there's this bee in this room, and I have to get stripped down, and I lay in the tanning bed, and I put my little goggles on, and I'm laying there. This maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes I was up to by this point. And I loved going because I'd take like a little nap or something, and evidently I fell asleep, and I did not realize that the bee had landed, if this were the tanning bed, and the door opened this way, the bee had landed right where I would have put my hand to push the lid up so I could get out. And so I literally grabbed the bee, but it was this hand, so I guess this way. I pushed up, grabbed the bee, and it stung my middle finger. Now, I do not know how long the symbol of lifting your middle finger only and giving the bird has been a bad thing. But I do know that I started learning about this when I was in high school. The tanning booth was maybe 2 or 3 miles from my home, and already my finger was swelling, and I couldn't like put any pressure on it. So as I'm driving down the road from the tanning booth, I managed to like get dressed. I couldn't use this finger, so my finger tends to now it's so swollen that it will not bend. Okay, so I'm driving down the road flicking everybody off. I tell you, anytime I do something even remotely outside the box that could be considered wrong, something happens. So I get home, and my mom was like, how did you get stung by a bee? And I cannot lie. I don't think quick enough to lie. And when I do lie, I can't remember what I've said, so I get caught in the lie every single time. But I did lie, and I said, it flew in the window and it stung me. And I don't know if she believed me or not, and eventually she may see this video because she's a subscriber, and she may just roll her eyes. And yeah, so anyway, that's my confession is, no drugs or alcohol before the prom, just a bee sting because I went to a tanning booth against my mom's wishes. So yeah, that is story number 1. So tell me, is there a time in your life that you have been on the wrong side of right and gotten caught? Or has there been a time where something did not go as it should and now it's a laughable moment for you? I'd love to hear it down in the comments. So think about it, comment about it, and I am going to go on to story number 2. So story number 2 is, again, these are all I was a senior then. Now I'm a junior in college. And sophomore in college. And I have a really good friend. She's now my best friend. I look at her as my sister. I love her. And we the school we went to had a rival, and the rival was an hour away, the college. And their team mascot, so to speak, is an anchor, like in a ship, that, you know, an anchor from a ship. And one night we were done studying, and the next day we had a huge basketball game, and it was between our school and our rival. And this rival, I mean, we're at like 200 games, 200 total games, or 400 games, or something like that. And they go back and forth on their win, who's better, who's not. It's a fun rival. So if you hear noise in the background, I'm kind of treating this like a live and letting my family do whatever around me. So you may hear the dog, or, you know, the TV or something like that. So anyway, my best friend was like, hey, one of my friends, who I didn't know, has a car. Why don't we go and toilet paper the anchor? And I was like, awesome, that's so great. So we decided that we were going to toilet paper the anchor, and there was a phrase that we used to say to the other team, there is no hope, because the college's name was Hope. And so we got some spray paint and spray painted on a white sheet, where is the hope, and we tied that to the anchor, and we toilet papered the anchor, and we threw grass seed all around the anchor so that the next day birds would be everywhere. So nothing permanent damage, like no spray painting, actual anything permanently. So we end up doing this at like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, because it's an hour away from our school. So we decided to do this around 11 o'clock at night by the time we got to the anchor. And we're sneaking around, and there's 4 of us, 2 in the front seat, 2 in the back. And the back seat had a middle section. And I wasn't paying attention to the driver, but the town we were in is one-way streets everywhere. And I did not realize that the person who was driving did not realize that it was one-way streets, and was going down the streets at 1 o'clock in the morning the wrong direction. He also had a busted taillight or headlight, and I did not know this either. So we're sitting, we're chit-chatting in the back seat, my best friend and I, and there's 2 guys in the front seat chit-chatting, and we're laughing about the game, and, you know, that we TP'd the anchor, and, you know, would it hit the school news and stuff like that. Because all 4 of us were Goodie Tushus. We've never done anything outside the box that's questionable. So unbeknownst to us, there had been a cop that was sitting in one of the parking lot, like church parking lots or whatever, watching us going up and down, because the guy that was driving was lost. And so he was going up and down the same streets, but he was going up and down the streets the wrong way. And so the cop thought that he was drunk. Meanwhile, he had a headlight out. So all of a sudden, we hear the cop's siren, and we think, oh, shoot. Because at the time in Michigan, for every roll of toilet paper you have in your car, if you're going to toilet paper something, it could be potentially a $50 fine. At least that's what I was told at the time, so I was freaking out, because as a college student, I didn't even have $50 to my name, let alone $500. So my friend and I stuffed all the toilet paper in the trash bag we brought and the spray paint and put it under the seat. Well, I guess the cop was watching through the window and saw us ducking in and out of the window as we were, rearranging things. So his suspicions got even higher, and he thought that we might be drunk. He thought we might have drugs. He thought maybe we even had weapons that we were hiding. So when the guy that was driving finally pulled over, we were told we had to get out of the car, we had to put our hands on the it's not the trunk, the front part of the car, the hood, and we were all like frisked, all four of us, by this one cop. Now, it was not like, he was respectful, but again, we're four Goodie Tushus. We're like, what the heck is going on? So that's when the cop was like, what are you doing here? And I broke down crying. My friend broke down crying. The two guys looked really sheepish, and they're like, you know, we're from this school and we have a really big game tomorrow. And so they were just honest. We came and we TP'd the anchor. So the cop pulls out the bag with the toilet paper, and then he also pulls out the spray paint. And he's like, what is the spray paint? Like, are you vandalizing? And we were like, we hadn't even thought of vandalizing. We're like, holy cow, no. Like, if you want, we can go show you, because we're Goodie Tushus. We don't know what to do. We're too honest for our own good. So we're like, yeah, we can show you. We brought a big white sheet and we spray painted "Where is the Hope" on it, and you know, we're really sorry, like, we'll go clean it up if you want us to. And he just bursted out laughing. And he said, well, first of all, you have a headlight that's out, so you need to get that fixed. Second of all, God must have been watching out for you, because he's like, I am the only cop on the force that has graduated as an alumni of the school you're from. So he was from our school, even though he was a cop in the town of Hope, the Hope School. So he was like, you know what, you guys need to get out of here. You need to go back, make sure you keep your grades up, and good luck on the basketball game tomorrow. And he's like, please pay attention to the one-way signs, and please get your headlight fixed. And we were just like, I think we peed our pants out of fear. But we were so like, this cop had a good sense of humor, and he let us go. And then the whole way back to our school, which was almost an hour, we were like looking in the rearview window, because by this time it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. There was no curfew. But we were just so paranoid. He was like going the exact speed limit, and you know, just different things like that. So I don't know, it was crazy. And I think when you're so used to always doing things right, or attempting to do things right, when you do one thing that's a little out of your character, it just feels like you're, excuse me, I'm not crying, I promise, that you're betraying your true self. And then you're like, I don't know how to deal with this. Oh my goodness, it was crazy. We ended up winning the game, which was awesome. And I think they reported, or there was rumors going around, that it had been TP'd. It wasn't as big of a deal as we thought it would be. We were hoping that somebody would do our version in, you know, early 2000s of going viral. But anyway, it was fun. It was a fun memory. So yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So I have a few other stories to add to Confessions of a Goodie Tushu, but I think I'm going to make that a part 2. I don't think I should reveal all my secrets tonight, because I think that you guys would love to hear them in the future. And there's a lot of other YouTube creators out there that you can go check out. I don't want to take up your whole afternoon, evening, morning. So yeah. So thank you so much for spending time with me. Thank you for listening to my stories. Hopefully they gave you a little bit of a giggle moment. And I can't wait to share some other confessions with you, as long as you don't turn me into the police. So until next time, be blessed. Take care, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.